you're a visa holder in the UK with the hopes of ever applying for British citizenship after passing the life in the UK test, after having lived in the UK for the required number of years based on the routes to settlements that you are on, there is still another major requirement that you have to meet to be able to be eligible to naturalize to become a British citizen. In simple terms, this requirement is known as the good character requirement. But if we know the UK Home Office very well, especially after the case of Miss Andrews, the Indian lady who was just recently deported, we know that we cannot just take the literal meaning of good character as good character. We know that there's definitely more to the good character than just good character. So when the Home Office say good character, what exactly do they mean? My people, there are many meanings to this good character requirements that you could ever think of. There are so many meanings to this. And in my research, my mouth was wide open half of the time with what this good character really means. It will shock you. There's actually a 59-page document explaining what good character is. Just good character. It has 59-page documents explaining it. If you would like to read it for yourself, I have attached it to this video, so you can just click on it in the description and then access it for yourself. But for those who want a summary of it, okay, keep watching. Many people, after meeting all the other requirements, they've passed the life in the UK test, they've done this, they've done that, but have been denied British citizenship because of this good character requirement. Strange. And in this video, I'm actually going to explain what they mean by good character as much as I can, and some of the things that you need to be aware of. This video is not for everyone. If you want to remain as a permanent residency or you're thinking of moving to another country, this is not really for you. But for those who have the intentions of ever applying for citizenship, I think you should watch this video, honestly. If you're interested, stay tuned. Stop that. So hi guys, welcome once again to my channel. My name is Danielle Griselda, and disclaimer, I am not an immigration advisor, I'm not an immigration lawyer. This information is purely based on information on the internet that anybody can access. In fact, I'm going to link all my resources that I use for this research in the description, okay? I just thought I should share it. So do not let this replace professional immigration advice. Seek the help of a professional immigration advisor if you need one. So the definition of good character hasn't always been what it is like presently. Good character keeps changing. They keep changing what they mean by good character. Can you imagine? UK Home Office. So let me take us back to the years before 31st of July 2023. Let me take us back to the years before then. But before then, when they say good character, there are three main things that they look at. They look at your criminal records, they look at your immigration history to see if you've had any immigration breaches. If your visa said don't access public funds yet you claim public funds, your visa said work only 20 hours for a different employer yet you were working 100 hours for a different employer, blah 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 blah. So they look at that. So criminal records, immigration history, and I didn't know this earlier, they look at your financial stability. I never knew this prior to this research. So apparently, if the bank or the HMRC has ever declared you bankrupt, you were not eligible to apply to naturalize to become a British citizen. I never knew this. So these are the three main things: criminal records, immigration history, and financial stability. Now, prior to 31st of July 2023, with regards to the criminal records aspect of it, there was actually some rules that they used to determine whether you are of good character, you meet this good character requirement or not. And there was actually a table. We're just looking at criminal record. There was actually a table. So if you committed a crime in the UK where you were sentenced to 4 years or more, they say that you can never apply for British citizenship. This was prior to 31st of July 2023. This was the old rules. I just want to take us back and then I'll tell you what it is now. So if you had done any activity, let's say you stabbed somebody or you had a quarrel with somebody, something, and then you were given 4 years or more, you were never going to be eligible to apply for citizenship. And then if you did a crime and then you were sentenced to 12 months or let's say 3.5 years, you could only apply for citizenship 15 years from the end of the sentence. I'll leave the table on the screen so you can see. If you ever committed a crime prior to the 1st of July 2023 and you were sentenced to, let's say, less than 12 months in prison, you could only apply for citizenship 10 years from the end of the sentence. And if you went to court and then you were given a non-custodial sentence, meaning you don't have to go to prison for it. So custodial sentence is a sentence where you have to be behind bars. You have to be in jail or prison. But non-custodial is when you don't have to be behind bars. Let's say you're given a fine. Let's say you're given community work and all of that. Those ones are non-custodial sentence. So prior to the 1st of July 2023, if you were given a non-custodial sentence, you could only apply 3 years from the date of the sentence. So let's say you're a nurse, you came here, and then like the nurse I spoke about in one of my videos who received a court order that they had to pay a penalty for not paying the right train fare, remember? And she received a court order. In her case, she was given a non-custodial sentence. So for her, even when she was eligible to apply for British citizenship, she would have to wait 3 more years from the dates of the sentence. So if we look at the old rules, working out when somebody is eligible to apply for citizenship or naturalization was more of a mathematical calculation based on the date and the type of the sentence that was involved. After this, then now they'll look at your financial stability, and then they'll also look at whether you breach other immigration rules. Now, these are the new rules that we're dealing with, which has also been amended just recently, which I'll talk about very soon. So after 31st of July 2023, they brought some new rules. They scraped this thing that I've just told you off. This thing was scraped off. And then they said that your application is going to be refused for anybody who's applying for British citizenship who falls within any of these categories. If you have a custodial sentence of 12 months or more in the UK or overseas. So now the custodial sentence, even if it was in another country where it was 12 months or more, is an automatic refusal. If you have had consecutive sentences totaling at least months in the UK or overseas, it was an automatic refusal. If you are a persistent offender who shows a particular disregard for the law, automatic refusal. If you have committed an offense which has caused serious harm, automatic refusal. If you have committed a sexual offense or your details are recorded by the police on the sex offenders register, automatic refusal. And if, however, you have a custodial sentence of less than 12 months or a non-custodial sentence, like you were given a fine, maybe you hit somebody's car accidentally or something, then the application will be refused unless the Home Office is satisfied on the balance of probabilities that you have a good character. So let's say you accidentally hit somebody on the road, you caused serious harm. Under normal circumstances, you should be denied a visa, but the Home Office is going to sit down and do a probability and say, what are the chances that you're probably a good person or you're probably a bad person? And then based on that, so it was more of the Home Office discretion based on the offense and other things. And then they said that they could give exceptions in some cases, and then they explain what the exceptions are. So let me read some of the exceptions where they will look at your case differently. So they said that, for example, they gave 3 exemptions. If a person's criminal conviction is for an offense which is not recognized in the UK. So remember, they said that even if the offense was overseas, they'll consider it and then there'll be an automatic refusal. But they are saying that if the person's criminal conviction is an offense which is not recognized in the UK, so let's say homosexuality or being a member of a trade union, in some countries it's a crime, but if that was the crime over here, it will not be considered, so that will not apply to you, so you'll be exempted from the new rules, hence you'll be able to apply for your British citizenship. The second exemption they gave is that if a person is in their late 60s and has offending committed a long time ago, which would normally require a refusal of citizenship due to a 2-year custodial sentence, but over 40 years have passed since the last conviction with no further offending or other adverse factors, when balanced against the earlier offending, the significant proportion of their UK residency that was spent in compliance with the law and avoiding wider character concerns indicates that they are now of good character. So basically, I say that if you committed a crime over 40 years ago, right, and then maybe you were given, let's say, 2 years to be in jail, and this crime was over 40 years ago, now you're in your late 60s, like, and then they see that now it's like, time has passed, you're a changed person, they can exempt you from that. And then the last example they gave is like if a person with one single 14-month custodial sentence from 12 years ago, let's say you were giving less than 2 years prison time or jail time for an offense, and this all happened more than 12 years ago. Let's say when you were aged 19 and you were maybe foolish, which would normally require a refusal of citizenship under the sentence-based threshold. Since your conviction, they are committed to reform by actively engaging with the youth and mental health charities and promoting the reduction of youth crime, indicating that on a balance of probability they are now of good character. And let's say after that they've realized that now you're a changed person, you're helping charities, you're helping the youth to fight night crime in London, you're doing a lot of charity work and all of that, they can, look at that and consider you. So these were the only 3 examples of exemptions that they gave. However, I'm sure that maybe if you had a very good lawyer and you could prove that now you're of good character, they could exempt you as well. That's what I believe personally. Basically, these are the new rules. So let me put the new rules on there again. So one, if you have a custodial sentence of 12 months or more in the UK or overseas, is an automatic refusal. If you have consecutive sentences totaling as at least months in the UK or overseas, automatic refusal. If you're a persistent offender who shows a particular disregard for the law, automatic refusal. If you have committed an offense which has caused serious harm, automatic refusal. If you have committed a sexual offense or your details are recorded by the police on the sex offenders register, automatic refusal. This is after you have passed your immigration history checks and your financial stability checks. This is the part of the criminal records that we're looking at. So now, when the Home Office say they'll use balance of probabilities to check whether you're a good person, like I said, it's based on the caseworker's discretion, right? So they're going to check that, what's the probability that this person is really a good person? It was just one offense. So let's say you were on your way to work and then you hit someone with your car. It was just an accident. Let's say the police has recorded this on your record. The Home Office are able to assess this and the person did not die. You didn't mean harm. They did check your alcohol levels and you were not drunk. It was the very first time. Your car was in good form. You had passed your MOT. You had passed your road tax. You had a license and everything else is normal. It has never happened before. I feel like you can argue your case out, in some of these cases. But that's what they said with the explanation of the balance of probabilities for less serious offenses. So they're saying that when a person has a custodial sentence for less than 12 months, so custodial once again means a sentence where you have to go to prison. Or if you have a non-custodial sentence, a sentence where let's say you're just given a fine or community service, then the Home Office will apply a balance of probabilities to determine whether you are considered to be of good character. So this in summary will involve balancing the individual's character, individual's circumstance of the matter. In particular, consideration will be given to the following. So they're going to consider the length of time since the offenses occurred, how long ago, the number of offenses, the seriousness of the offense, any escalation in the seriousness of the offenses, the nature of the offenses, the applicant's age at the date of the conviction, and whether there are exceptions or other circumstances or any other mitigation factors. So they'll also take other account factors that may be relevant to a person's good character. So this is what we were dealing with, which has just recently in the last few days also been updated. So another thing has been added now. So they are saying that now there is a default position of denying British citizenship applications from those who arrive in the UK via unauthorized routes, regardless of when you entered the UK. So some people enter the UK via unauthorized routes. They entered the UK illegally. They don't mean people that came on a visit visa and overstayed. They mean people that were hidden in the boots of cars, of delivery vans, ice cream vans, of those that came by the boats and all of that. Those that entered illegally, usually some of them, they come and then later they marry a British citizen, so they are eligible to apply for British citizenship after some years. The Home Office said that now, regardless of when you came, what you're eligible for, so far as you entered the UK through an illegal route, you will never ever be eligible for citizenship. So they are saying that any person applying for citizenship from 10th of February 2025 who previously entered the UK illegally will normally be refused, regardless of the time that has passed since the illegal entry took place. A person who applies for citizenship from 10th of February 2025 who has previously arrived without a required valid entry clearance or electronic travel authorization, having made a dangerous journey, would normally be refused citizenship. A dangerous journey includes, but is not limited to, traveling by a small boat or being concealed in a vehicle or any other conveyance. It does not include, for example, arrival as a passenger with a commercial airline. So they are doing this just to deter people from taking very dangerous routes to come to the UK. People come in delivery vans hidden somewhere. People go on holiday and people sneak themselves into their cars and make so many very dangerous ways to come to the UK. And they're just trying to deter people from ever taking that route. If you know that you're coming and you never ever, regardless of having lived in the UK for 50 years, be eligible to apply for citizenship, then you think twice about it. So that is where they are coming from. Prior to that, people could come and then their status will change. Let's say they'll marry somebody, they'll give birth here and they'll use the child and all of that, right? Now, the thing is, the problem with this particular thing that other organizations are raising, the concerns that people have with this particular new update is that most people who come through these routes are refugees. So basically now, simply put, most people come through this route end up seeking asylum, right? So now what the Home Office is basically saying is that they are going to block a large number of people, for refugees, from ever naturalizing as British citizens. And this is effective from 10th of February 2025. If you came through a boat and you submitted your application, let's say 9th February 2025, it doesn't affect you. But from anybody who's applying from 10th of February 2025, you're affected. They are criticizing the Home Office, saying that there are no safe routes for most people that come through this route. Honestly, if they could afford flights or they could actually get visit visa to come, that's the routes that they would have used. But there are honestly no safe routes for these people. And then they come through this means, they put their lives in danger through this means because they need protection, because they're running away from war, because they're running away from hunger. They need to be protected. Most of the time, they have no other ways to enter the UK. So for you to say that they are coming through these routes and now they're being treated the same way as criminals, that is not fair. So currently, this is the new update. If you ever come through any illegal or dangerous means, like the boats, like hidden in the car, etc., to the UK, you can never apply for citizenship. And I have a very strong feeling that very soon they're going to say that if you came by air as well and you overstayed, you can never apply for citizenship. These people, with the way they are tightening all their immigration rules, I feel like this is going to happen very, very soon. What do you think? Is this fair? This is just their way of tackling, people smuggling gangs. They're actually people who take money from people in other countries and smuggle people in the UK. They hide them in various ways you never even think of. And this is the UK Home Office way of dealing with these things, to deter people from coming through that way. And I don't think it will be such a huge deterrent, because some people would still want to come to the UK even if they're not going to get citizenship. They'll still come here and live. Guys, what do you think? So this is the new update, but remember that when they say good character, they mean you should be financially stable, you should never have been declared bankrupt by the HMRC, and then you should have not breached any immigration rules, and you should not have a criminal record. With regards to criminal records, these are the things they look at. And if, let's say, you have a non-custodial sentence, which I mean, some people may have a non-custodial sentence, like maybe they were fined or something by the court or by the police or something for a minor, crime. And if you have such an offense on your record, the Home Office is going to use the balance of probabilities. They're going to check when it happened, was there any serious harm caused, and have you ever done it again, how many times have you done it, and all of that. And based on that, they're going to determine whether you are of good character or not. So basically that's that. And the new addition is that if you ever entered illegally, you can never naturalize. It's an automatic refusal. This is why what Kemi is saying is dangerous. Kemi Badenoch, the new leader of the Conservative Party, this is why what she's saying is dangerous. Because if you are living in the UK for 10 years or 15 years before you are eligible to apply for citizenship, a lot of things can happen in the 16 years or the 15 years or the 10-year period. Accidents do happen. You can make a mistake and it can end up in a non-custodial sentence where you are fined by the court or something of that sort. So you're more likely to fall into one of these immigration breaches or criminal record stuff the longer you stay before you apply for citizenship. So it'll be very difficult. A lot of people find themselves wanting if you have to stay this long before you are ever eligible. And this is some of the reasons why we should get up to go and vote against the Conservative Party when the time is due, so that some of these things will not come into effect or into power. Guys, what do you think? Do you think this is fair on the refugees or for those who come through this route? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.